yarn lovers! If you are looking for a quick and easy gift this Christmas, then these pocket tissue cozies are just the thing. The pattern can also be easily adapted to fit your phone or tablet or any other small gadgets. So these pocket tissue cozies really are super simple to make. It's a very simple stitch pattern and your tissues just pop right in there. And as I said before, you can easily adapt this to fit an iPhone, a tablet, anything you like really. Now I've got these super cute candy cane buttons for mine. I think they look just adorable. I've gone with this kind of retro Christmas colour combination here, but you can make yours in any colours you like. These buttons, I absolutely love these. I'm obsessed by these buttons. They're just so pretty. And I will try and link these or try and add them to my Amazon store so that you can get hold of these if you want to use the same ones. So all you're going to need is some cotton, Aran. Actually, you could use any yarn, it doesn't have to be cotton, but I'm going with cotton. I like the finished result you get from this. This is the Yarnsmith's Cotton Aran. The colours available in this yarn, I have never seen such a huge, I think they've got 200 colours. They are absolutely beautiful. So I do recommend this yarn. But if you can't get hold of Yarnsmiths, because I know not everyone wants to shop internationally, you can use any Aran or worsted weight yarn you like to make these. Also going to be using a 5mm crochet hook. You're going to need some scissors, a darning needle, and of course your buttons. And if you're making them for pocket tissues, you'll need your pocket tissues as well. So you're going to start with a slip knot on your hook. And then you're going to make a chain that is the width of your tissues, because I know these pocket tissues, they're all similar in size, but they are slightly different. So you're just going to make your chain as wide as your tissues or your phone, or if you're using it to make an iPhone case, just keep chaining until it's as wide as your case. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think 8 is about right. So there you can see we've got 8 chains, and that's the width of the case. I'm going to add one more chain to that. Let's put that out of the way now. And now we're ready to start. So I'm going to start by turning over our chain and working into the bumps along the back. So in the second chain from the hooks, this is the first, this is the second, I'm going to put a single crochet. And then I'm going to start by putting single crochets into each of these stitches, working into the back bumps. What this does is that because we're going to work along the underside of the chain as well, and this is going to give you a much nicer, tighter, neat bottom of your cozy. So just putting single crochet in each stitch. We're going to go all the way across until the very last stitch. So working into the back bumps. So I'm just going to put a single crochet into this last stitch. And then I'm going to put 2 more single crochets into that same stitch, and this is just going to turn us around the corner. So it's 2 and 3, and if you hold your tail there, you can work over that as you go, and then you can just trim that off. So we're now going to start working into this foundation edge, and because we worked into those back bumps, we've got those nice lovely V stitches to work into, and this is going to stop you from getting quite from getting gaps in the middle between the two, you know, the top and the underside. So I'm going to put a single crochet in each stitch across the bottom of our foundation chain, and it can be a bit tricky to get your hook in there, but it is going to make you have a really nice tight seam across the bottom there. So just working across, single crochet each stitch, working over that tail. I'm going to keep going until I get to that last stitch. Okay, so I've worked across, and now you can see this is where we had our first stitch. So we're going to put 2 more single crochet into that stitch, so that then we'll have 3 stitches all in one stitch at the beginning and at the end, just to turn us around that corner. So it's 2 single crochet in there. And I'm just going to trim off that tail. We've worked over that now, and it's going to be hidden inside anyway, so that's all you need to do for that. Oh, I forgot to mention at the beginning, you're also going to need a stitch marker. Okay, so we've done our first round now. Now, instead of joining with a slip stitch to this first stitch, we're actually going to be working in a spiral. So I'm going to put a half double crochet into this first stitch of the round. Like so, and then I'm going to put a marker into that stitch so we know that is the first stitch. We're now going to start working in linked stitches, so I'm going to do a linked double crochet in the next stitch. So you're looking for this horizontal bar of the half double crochet. So this is like the front leg, this is the top of the stitch, and then this one that's in the middle, this is the horizontal bar. So we're just going to put our hook through that bar and pull up a loop. And then we're going to insert our hook into the next stitch, and then just finish off a double crochet stitch as we normally would. So I'll show you the linked double crochet again. We're going to go through the horizontal bar, pull up a loop. Effectively this counts as your yarn over, and then you're going to just do the double crochet stitch as normal. So your hook will go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, and we're going to start working around with a linked double crochet in each stitch all the way around. So we're going to keep going until we get back to the beginning where we've got that marked stitch. So this creates a really nice dense fabric, which I think works really well for gadget cozies. You can't see anything through it. It gives you a really nice texture, and it works up pretty quickly as well. So I'm just coming to work around the corner now. We don't need to do anything special around the corner. We don't need to add any extra stitches anymore, because we want to get our work to actually start forming the shape of our pocket tissues or whatever we're making. So we're just going to keep working around with a linked double crochet in each stitch. And as you start to go around that first corner, you'll see that it starts to bend over, starts to curl around to form that shape. So I'm just coming up to the end of the round. So this is the first stitch of a round. So I'm going to put a linked double crochet into that first stitch. Then I'm going to take the stitch marker out and just replace it into that first stitch. And then I'm going to continue working around with a linked double crochet in each stitch. So you're just going to keep working around in rounds until you've worked enough rounds to completely cover your pocket tissues or whatever it is you're crocheting over. For these pocket tissues, I did 10 rounds of the linked double crochet, but this might change depending on the size of your tissues. You don't even have to use Aran weight yarn. You could use a double net yarn and a 4mm hook, and then you would just have more rows to get to the top of your tissues. This pattern works really well. You can really easily adapt it to any yarn weight you like, really. I've even made them with fingering weight yarn before. So you're just going to keep going until you get to the top. I recommend you try on your cozy when you think it's long enough, because you might find that when you actually try it on, it's not quite as long as you think it is, because it stretches out a little bit. So you keep going until your cozy is completely covered, and I'll show you how to do the last round and our little button loop. I'm just finishing up my last round. I've got one stitch left before my stitch marker, and instead of putting a linked double crochet in there, I'm going to put a linked half double crochet. It's made exactly the same way. I'm just going to put my hook through that horizontal bar, pick that up, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all of those loops. And into the next stitch, this final round is going to be single crochet, so I'm just going to put a single crochet in there. And again, just going to move up that stitch marker so I know where I am. And I'm going to work around with a single crochet in each stitch. Now, once I get to the back, once I get to kind of like the center of the back, we're going to work our button loop. So I just keep working around, and I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm not going to measure. Once you start getting around to the other side, what I do is I just squash it flat so you can see that's where the seam is across there. And you just want to be roughly in the center. So I'm going to sew this next stitch. And then I'm going to chain 20. Now, how many chains you want will depend on how far down you want your button to be. With the Aran weight, 20 chains gets your button about here. If you had 15, your button would be a little bit higher up. But if you're using a different weight yarn, you're going to have to experiment yourself and find out the right number of chains for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and chain 20. So I have my 20 chains, and I'm now going to join to that first single crochet. I'm going to go through the front loop of that last single crochet stitch we made and the first leg of the stitch and slip stitch, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch with a single crochet, and I'm going to carry on with a single crochet in each stitch until we get back to that stitch marker. And into this first stitch I'm going to just put a slip stitch, and then I'm going to fasten off. So I'm going to take this marker out. Now if you want to, you can use the invisible join. I tend to not like to use it on something that's going to be pulled around a lot, because you're going to be pulling this about to get your pocket tissues in and out. I always feel safer with a proper join, a proper fasten off. So I'm going to do a secure fasten off by pulling that loop through. I go through the back bump of that chain that I made, and I pull through once more, and I pull that down to make a really firm, secure knot. And then you can go ahead and weave that end in. Now let's just try on our Cosy, see how it fits. As you can see, as you put it on, it stretches out and gets a little bit shorter. So you do need to try it on before you do that last round of single crochet. There we go. Perfect. So then you're going to want to measure exactly where you need your button. I like to start off with my tissues in the Cosy. I think it's easier to judge where you need the button to be. So I'm just going to take a short length of yarn, just enough to sew on a button, and pop it onto this needle. Now if your buttons have smaller apertures, you might need to use just a normal sewing needle. You might also need to perhaps separate the cotton into less strands so it's a bit thinner. It depends on how big your buttons are. Okay, so let's see, how many rows down did I go? I like to try and get them exactly the same. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's on the 4th row down. Well, the 4th row of the linked stitches is 1, 2, 3, 4. So somewhere around here is where we're going to need to be. So I'm just going in from the back. And then I'm just going to kind of weave the end in before I start. There we go. And I'm going to pop on a button. Now I like to do like a little cross across, but you could sew your button on however you like. I'm just going to go through into Cosy, pull that tight, and then through there. I think we can take this off now that we know exactly where we need the button. And back through, and then out this side. I'm just pulling that tight, and then I'm just going to go around a couple of times to make a nice button shank, and then going to just tie a little knot by putting a needle through this loop, pulling that tight, and then I'm going to just sew in my end on the other side. So just going through to the inside. You can just do a couple of stitches to hide that tail and then fasten off. Let's pretend we've woven that end in already. Let's just tuck that inside for now. And there you've got your there you've got your finished Cosy. Let's try it on to make sure the button is in the right place. There you go. And as I said, these make great little gifts. Perfect if you're looking for something quick and easy. Perfect for gifts for your co-workers, or you could put them in stockings, in your Christmas stockings. And if you're looking for more festive makes, then why don't you check out this playlist next. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.